One of the big stories of this week, the South African National Taxi Council is set to meet with the Alexandra Taxi Association today. This follows a decision by the Alexandra Taxi Association to increase fares from 11 Rand to 30 Rand as of yesterday. Now that increase will impact, I believe it's as of next Monday. That impact, of course, will mainly impact the poor. Newzroom Afrika's Mbali Thethani is at the Bree Street taxi rank. She's talking to commuters, and I can't imagine, Mbali, that anyone is pleased about this development.
Well, of course, Michelle, commuters are set to feel the pinch once that increase comes into effect on Monday. And of course, speaking to SANTACO just a bit earlier on, just to find out, how did they come up with this increase? We know that they are set to meet with the Alexandra Taxi Association. Of course, those are one of the associations which are set to increase their fares. We know that because of the lockdown regulations, taxis are only allowed to fill up at least 70% of the capacity inside their minibus taxis. So basically they're saying that this has had a really negative impact on them and their income, and they have been left with no choice really but just to increase the taxi fare. But Michelle, we'll try and speak to some of the commuters here. I understand this is the queue for those going to Randburg, and Randburg is also one of those areas which also will be affected by this increase. I'm going to try and speak to this lady, this young lady over here. We understand, Mamaguti, taxis are going to increase from Monday. This includes Randburg, it includes Alexandra, it includes Midrand. Should they increase, how will this affect you?
Increase meaning like the taxi fees?
Yeah, it will increase at least by 30 Rand.
Yeah, it's really going to affect a lot of people, because some people right now they're only only going back to work now, so they haven't saved enough money for the whole month. So normally people save up for the whole month, and then now if they increase the taxi fees, it's going to affect a lot of people, because now you're going to have to deduct some of the money that you use for groceries to pay for the taxi fees. So it's going to affect a lot of people.
So essentially saying that more people are going to be forced to be working for their transport, basically.
Yes, you're going to be working for transport normally.
Thank you very much. I'm also going to try and speak to this gentleman over here. Baba, we know that from Monday, some amanyama taxi, they're going to be increasing. We know that Alexandra taxi ayokupula from 11 Rand to 30 Rand. I know that Randburg as well, which is the one that you're standing in, from Monday, they also might see this increase by 30 Rand. Are you going to be able to afford this?
Yeah, so
ngithi amateksi ayakhushulwa from Monday from angazi le eyakho igibela le yase Randburg iyokhuphuka from 13 Rand to 30 Rand i-triple one. Uzokhona na ukuyi-afforda na leyo mali leyo?
Angeke nikhona vele. Ngcono vele manje ngihlala endlini wabona ningasebenzi ngoba itaxi izonyuka imali yokugibela ngizoba ninganayo vele wabona.
Michelle, you can hear there another commuter saying that, well, if it does really increase to at least 30 Rand, they simply won't be able to afford it, and really there will be no need for them to actually go to work, because most of them will essentially now be working for transport. We understand that, when taxi drivers saying that there has been relief aid for a number of sectors in the country, well, they've been left out, when it comes to those relief aids, and it's going to be quite difficult for them to get by and to still run their small businesses. And this basically just saying that, well, they have there is no other option rather but to increase the taxi fare for these commuters.
Discussions that are set to take place between the Alexandra Taxi Association and the SA Taxi Council, the National Taxi Council. Is it to try and find some middle ground at least? It's 170%, I believe, is the increase in fares here, which surely is just completely unreasonable.
Well, SANTACO says that it will be meeting with the Alexandra Taxi Association, basically to understand, if maybe they can find some middle ground, because we know that taxis are only allowed to fill up 70% of its capacity, and that means that they are losing out. The taxi industry is losing out on a lot of money because of the lockdown regulations. So basically when they do meet, they will be trying to also meet with government to see and try and find a way forward in terms of, while we see these regulations continue to impact many sectors, you know, this taxi industry has been left out. What sort of recourse can government also find to also try and find some sort of relief for the taxi industry?
No, absolutely. A double whammy there for the taxi industry, not being able to operate for some weeks and now being able to operate only at 70% capacity. Thanks very much for that update. That's Newzroom Africa's Mbali Thethani. She's joining us there from the Bree Street taxi rank as we continue to track that story.